The following program is hosted by immature, irreverent, obnoxious, and often disgusting young men. Listener discretion is advised.
This time on Nude Clan.
Leon S. Kennedy. What's the S stand for? Stupid?
Shall we play a game?
You got several things to do. You got work, kids in school. What do you do when it's all over?
How do you hand something from one player to another?
Turn on the TV, pick up the controller and play some games with the new clan.
Ooh, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nude Clan, the video game podcast, where Joe... Yeah, you gave kind of a tepid scream for this.
I can't. Yeah, it's my throat.
Is it your
I can't
throat,
scream.
or is it this
like
movie?
I.
Can't just garner enough excitement.
It's what
for-
this movie did to my throat.
Yeah.
No, yeah, mostly the sleep apnea from sleep apnea injury while I was asleep in the movie theater watching this.
No, I see.
Resident Evil Welcome to Racoon City is a 2021 action horror film, apparently. I can't see any action or be scared by anything because I can't see it. Written and directed by Johannes Roberts, director of The Other Side of the Door and 47 Meters Down.
Yeah, this guy... I saw The Other Side of the Door when we walked out of this thing early. I'm really looking forward to seeing The Other Side of the Door to this movie theater. I'll tell you that right now.
It's apparently adapted from the stories of the first and second Resident Evil games.
Yeah.
Yeah, they combined the plots of 1 and 2 to happen at the same time.
So unlike and this is like a straight reboot because the other ones were all the other Resident Evil movies up to this point have been sequels to that one, the Paul W.S. Anderson one from like 2000.
Yeah.
And that movie I don't think followed the games, right?
Not really, no.
Not really. It
It was about his cool original character and wife, Mila Jovovich. I mean, Alice.
Yeah, and I would say that like a still picture of Mila Jovovich is more entertaining than this entire movie. But so I kind of get what W.S. Anderson was going for with that first one. This film stars Kaya Scodelario, and whose name I can't pronounce. I've never heard it said. So.
Kaya Skullfuck.
I have seen her in
Is that Claire?
in a much better movie called Crawl back in 2019. It's like the alligator movie that I thought was going to be dumb as shit. And then I went in there. I was like, no, this movie it's got bad special effects in it, but this movie's rocking. Yeah, I think she's Claire. She's the main person in the. If you can kind of figure out who a main character is.
I was
in
going to
this
say,
movie.
there's like 18 main characters in
Yeah.
this fucking movie.
It's set in 1998. Follows a group of survivors trying to survive during the zombie outbreak in a small town of Racoon City. It had a budget of $25 million. It's pretty low for what it is. Box office 41.9, and apparently did really well on rentals. So nice. James Wan had expressed interest in the project. Went through a few different phases of, of making this movie happen, especially after Resident Evil, the final chapter.
I really wish we could have seen what a James Wan Resident Evil movie would look like.
It probably would have been interesting.
Or at least Silent Hill.
Yeah,
Silent
I probably
Hill
would have.
seems more his speed.
I probably would have been able to see in the movie because James Wan makes pretty even Saw, I can see what's going on.
Did you see
during
Saw?
during the Saw, dude. During the movie Saw, oddly enough, for a horror movie, he didn't feel like he had to bump the brightness down all the way. He didn't have to underexpose on the camera by 4 stops in order to say, oh, isn't this a scary movie? And Saw, of course, being an all-time horror classic, Yeah, I would have liked to have seen James Wan do something because even if it was bad, it would have been interesting. Even if it was fishmen swimming around awkwardly, it's still way more interesting than this fucking movie.
Did he do?
He did Aquaman.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
watch that, but I
Yeah.
remember you.
I forgot
making
he
that
did
complaint.
Aquaman. Holy shit.
Yeah, he did Aquaman.
want to play a game? The movie before you on the screen is barely visible the entire time.
You lived your whole life playing Resident Evil games. Now you're going to have to watch the shittiest movie based on them.
The combo to the lock that holds the key, or the combo to the lock that holds the antidote.
I will say I'm gonna let you guys talk eventually.
Thanks.
I hated this movie, guys. I have not walked into a movie theater and hated a movie in a very long time. It's been a very long time. I've generally, like, for the last few years, I've gone into movies and been like, oh, that doesn't really work or whatever, I'm a filmmaker, so I'm looking at these things as like, oh, they were trying to do this didn't really work, yada yada. So there's like a whole bunch of like excuses I give a movie that maybe doesn't work that other people when they're watching are like, that was a waste of money. Then I see this movie and I go, this is the laziest piece of shit I have ever seen in my fucking life. And honestly, like the movie Cats was more entertaining. Like that was a atrocious movie, like poorly like conceived. But
Well, that's because
As the
Cats
last-
is just entertaining because it's like a fucking fever dream.
Yeah, exactly. So this movie isn't even interesting bad. So we've had I think the last movie on this level was Double Dragon, where it was like it wasn't so bad it's good. There's like
It's just
nothing
meh.
redeeming in it. And no. It's
not
not
even
just
meh,
bad. It's
yeah.
bad and not fun to watch bad. It's like hurts. And I'll give you another one. It's boring, and it's underlit, and it's poorly directed. Sorry to say, and I hate it. I hate this movie, and I don't love saying that I hate a movie, but I do hate this movie. I think it is a piece of trash. I think that there was. I just saw an article when I was looking up so last time. You might have heard last week when you were like, what are you making them look at on the thing? And I'm like, we're getting ready for the last thing. I was seeing a quote from the director being like, can't wait for Resident Evil to be scary again, basically. He was just saying my Resident Evil is going to be scary. Like scary dark and scary boring. And I guess you could use the word
House
scary.
Beneviento from Resident Evil Village is scarier than the entirety of this movie.
I'll give you another one. It's also confusing because of how poorly told the story is. You start with a scene with a little girl, and then you think you're getting a flash forward because you have a woman in the next scene,
Yeah.
And I literally thought that scene at the beginning of the movie was a flashback. When I saw the movie, because of the way that they set it up, because they were so fucking lazy by the writing and the direction of it, that's just what it looked like. It just looked like it was a flashback. It wasn't a flashback. It was the same fucking night. I hated
it was
this
a flashback. It was when Claire and Chris were kids and they met
No,
Lisa Trevor.
no, that was the problem. Okay, so no, there's a scene later on with a little girl, and I thought we were flashing back to the little girl that we saw
Again,
before.
yeah.
Not that you would be able to see the facial
Birkin's,
features.
Birkin's daughter.
Not that you would be able to see the facial features of that kid in either one, and therefore easily confuse the two because you can't see anything in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
I think it's trash, and I know that it's I guess it follows the games well, and all I could say is, well, glad it's a video game from the 1990s, so maybe you can forgive it for being a junk fucking story.
Yeah.
Hate it.
It's
Hate movies that make me want to fall asleep in the movie theater.
It's almost
I'm not
as,
that guy.
It's almost as bad as The Green Knight. This movie's not trying to be pretentious, though. It doesn't know what pretense is. So
I was going to say, what's the opposite
It
of
also
pretense?
doesn't know what
Well,
a
pretentious,
joke
'cause that's what
is.
this movie is.
It doesn't know what a joke is. It doesn't know what a scare is. It doesn't know what suspense is. It doesn't know what a character is. It doesn't know what a fucking light is. It doesn't know anything.
anybody got a light switch in here?
Hold on. I'll give this movie one thing. It does know what one thing is, and that's the set design. Pretty much all the set design in this movie is perfectly accurate to the games. They made the Racoon City Police Department look just right. Not the Baker Mansion. the mansion from Resident Evil 1 looks pretty good.
Yeah. that's
How
pretty
can
sweet.
you tell? Can you actually see it?
A little bit. It
I
actually
mean-
like follows the floor plan. I had just recently played the Resident Evil 1 remake, and it was pretty close.
Yeah.
That's I
Like,
don't
the
know.
the set design in this is good. That's about the best thing I can say.
Yeah, so like as a fan of the games, like they did a pretty good job adapting. But I mean, I think this is like Stephen King level autism, right? So like when Stephen King is involved in a Stephen King adaptation,
What does that mean?
Stephen King is retarded.
Okay.
And when he's in charge of making a thing that he made into a movie, it's stupid every time because he doesn't know how to let things go. And that's kind of what I think these guys did. They can't let any of it go. It all has to be here. We got to bring in it. It's the same problem I had with the Mortal Kombat movie. Like we got to have Goro. We got to have him. But they said that with everybody in
We
that
gotta have
movie.
some flips, dude. We gotta have backflips everywhere.
We got to have
We
this
gotta
guy.
have some
It's a
backflips.
Mortal
Well,
Kombat
it's
movie.
worse here because
gotta.
it's worse here because it's fucking 2 games being adapted into 1 movie.
Yeah, we gotta have the chick from the remake. We gotta have Lisa Trevor, even though she's not in the original game at all. She's just in the remake of the original.
I'm surprised they
game.
didn't have Mr. X, to be honest.
I was like, why would you have this chick and not him? Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like, no one really remembers Lisa Trevor, but
Yeah, it's
Mr.
'cause
X
she
is like a
didn't
meme machine.
She didn't exist until like 2006, which is like
Yeah.
10 years after the game came out. The
Yeah.
original one. So I don't know. I thought it was good, and I told Jake to go see it, and he did not think it was good. He's like, "Why exactly did you tell me to go watch this movie?" I'm like, "I don't know. I guess it was the Popeyes. I was high. I was high as a kite." And I was like, "Man, that was some good chicken. Holy
Yeah, this
fuck.
chicken sandwich is making me
I
act
think-
up right now.
I
It's a real upper."
I think it worked on your nostalgia for the game itself.
You probably did.
So that
I
it just
don't know.
and you know what? There's an audience for that. They're probably that specific audience is listening to this being like, yeah, Joseph's a hater.
I don't know who that audience is, by the way, because they basically changed the race of every single character in this fucking movie.
Well, and they changed Leon's character all total. He's not a dumb, like bumbling fool.
Dude, he's
like,
a
for being
moron
a rookie.
in this movie.
Yeah, for being a
Like
rookie.
Leon's a
literally-
rookie in the game, but he is not like a rock bottom retard.
This movie is so poorly cast that literally like 2 of the leading guys I thought were the same guy
I did that too.
for like
couple
a
times.
while in
Like,
the
wait,
movie.
who's who?
And then same with the 2 little girls. There's a little girl at the beginning that is the flashback, and then there's
Yeah.
the little girl that's not the flashback, and then it suddenly like morphs into that guy's family, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Who are these people?
What is happening right now? Can you please cast a blonde girl instead of the brown-haired girl again? Can you
Yeah.
not cast 2 actresses that look exactly the same?
Yeah.
And also underlight them so I can't see them?
Yeah.
I can't see these people's faces. Oh my god, there's a fucking like hallway fight with like the one creature coming and like the music is like brr, and it's like going crazy. Sorry for spitting on you, brother.
It's all right.
The music's going crazy and I'm like the movie's telling me to be scared. I'm bored to death. I can't actually see what's happening on the screen. Like there's like the thing on the ceiling
Oh,
and
the
shit like
liquor,
that.
yeah.
I
The liquor,
can't
yeah.
see it. I can't see what's going on in the movie, and therefore it is not scary. It's just a
No.
lot of loud music being thrown at me and like flashes of light.
You're squinting at the
I
screen
was getting, like
with
epilepsy
your hands
from
over
this
your
fucking
ears,
movie.
like ah.
God, dude.
One Gabriel
We're
Jones in the
doing
chat brings
this!
up a good point. They ruined Wesker. Wesker's totally weird in this movie. Like he's
He's like a
not
moron.
like just outwardly evil.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, you know, there is a little plot with like Zero that happens with Wesker, and I'm not sure what that is. It's like something about him being like forced to do what he does. But in this one, he's played by a guy who looks like an alternate universe version of Matthew Lillard, where he didn't end up being an ugly fuck. He's like oddly reminiscent of Matthew Lillard.
Apologies
but
to
not.
Matthew Lillard. out
Yeah, sorry, Scoob or Shag.
there. Raggy.
The older that guy gets, I'm like, man, he is rough as fuck. Like, and he's kind of weird looking before, but like, this guy kind of looks like him. He kind of acts like him, like kind of a dumbass.
It's the guy who was like the ape guy from the Umbrella Academy. For people who watch that dog shit on Netflix.
Is that in? Wait, is that what is Umbrella Academy? Is that a?
It's the show
show.
based on the comic book by the guy from My Chemical Romance.
Oh, I have zero interest in
And
that at all.
Elliot Page is in it, but back when she had tits.
Oh, wait,
Yeah,
did she
so
get
I
rid
don't
of
know-
those?
I
She
don't know
lopped
if they're ever
those.
doing a
How
second season of
often?
that.
Do you have something for her or against him, her?
I don't know. I just happen to
You
be mentioning
bring
a lot
up
of things that involve him. Her.
You have brought up Elliot Page / Ellen Page, previous artist previously known as Ellen Page. You have brought him up every month for the last 4 months.
No, I haven't.
Yes, I swear to God, you have. People pick it out. Go through these fucking
Run it
episodes
back,
and
run
find
the
it.
tapes back. Put
Find
a
it
fucking,
every time.
Put a compilation up on YouTube of me
Oh my
talking about
God.
Elliot Page.
It's like I think you got a crush on him.
Elliot
did.
Page.
See, that's what it was. You were in love with Ellen
Oh
Page.
no, he keeps he brings it up. Wait, you really did,
Back from like X-Men 3, yeah.
dude? I've never thought she was attractive. I knew from the beginning she was
She
gonna
like-
be a dude.
I think she was cute, but
I don't know. She looks like a little kid.
she was young looking.
And now that she's a dude, she looks the same. Like there's no difference. It's just
She looks like a school shooter
She's
now.
like a-
He looks like a school shooter.
oh,
now.
kind of yeah, like kind of like an androgynous school shooter.
Like he looks like he's got a fucking like a locker full of Sonic the Hedgehog fan fiction.
Yeah, it's just A4, but actually went
Maybe
off the
that's
deep
why.
end, but
I
it's
just
not
see myself in
teetering,
him.
like,
Her.
waving his arms like about to fall off the deep end, like oh.
Man, it's gonna
I don't
suck
know.
when I go trans.
Has he been in a? Yeah. I can't wait for that day.
You're gonna suck.
Has he been in a movie?
Post announcement of
post-
being a man? No, I don't think.
Yeah, that's cute. I'm curious about that.
Yeah,
I can't wait for Juno 2 though. Now I'll tell you that much.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
I love
Yeah.
Juno.
Also, Fringe Philosopher brings up a great point in the chat. Jill was hot in this movie, which I totally agree, even though Jill's not black.
Yeah, Jill's pretty smoking.
I forget who played her in
Is
this.
Jill's the black chick? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
That's Jill Valentine.
Yeah, she's pretty hot. She's pretty hot. I think all the actors in this movie are pretty hot. Everybody's quite built, except for like the police chief.
yeah.
The police chief, by
he
the
was
way, is
pretty
my favorite
accurate.
fucking character in this movie.
Yeah.
Because like all the guys are hanging out in the Raccoon Police Department room, and they're just talking, and he's like, "All right, everyone, just shut the fuck up. I can't hear myself think. I'm trying to figure." And he's like, "Well, what's going on out there?" And he's like, "I don't know." He shuts them up to then tell them he doesn't know what the situation is.
That was the thing that was another thing that bothered me about the so the script really bothered me. There were awkward lines all over the place. Like especially with the truck driver, I think, and like the amount of Claire's dialogue in the first half of the movie that was like exposition about her childhood and the city and all this shit when like she
Yeah.
would already know that, her brother would already know that, and there's no fucking reason for her to like keep stating it in the way that she's stating it.
Yeah.
Chris,
that
as
stuff-
you know, we lived in an orphanage, and
As
we,
you know,
we
exactly, dude.
Yeah.
Like you might as well.
Yes,
I think
I
you just
know.
quoted the movie. It was so awful. It was awful there, and then you had the and then the police chief. It was just suddenly like an R-rated buddy cop movie
Yeah.
in
for,
in the police scene. So you were talking about the police chief going in there and like swearing. I'm like, this movie doesn't know what it wants to be at all.
doesn't.
It also has 9, and I know that it follows the games, and I'll tell you, as a person who never played those games, I don't give a fuck. This movie sucks ass. It has 9,000 characters in it. It has 9,000 main
it's got
characters.
An A plot.
and half
It's got
of
a
them
B
look
plot.
the
It's got a
same.
C plot. It's got an F plot.
Yeah, and
it's got a
and it's 80
W
minutes
plot.
long. What am I supposed to attach to? What am I supposed to care about? Nothing. There's nothing to care about, and therefore it's just something to go. It's a sleeping pill in movie form. It's awful.
Do you want to take the red pill, the blue pill, or the Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City pill?
You want to go to sleep?
Yeah,
Here
you
you
want to
go.
go to sleep and possibly never wake up?
This is the most boring horror movie you will ever see in your fucking life. Here.
Yeah.
God damn.
I don't know what my deal was.
Well, dude, you can like a movie.
were just
you
hopped
can
up
like
on
a movie.
Popeyes.
Just let it happen.
I mean, I don't know.
You don't have to change your opinion just because I think it's possibly one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, at least in the movie theater.
I mean, I thought the scene, admittedly, this is one of the scenes, one of the many that you can't see anything in, but where he's like fighting in the hall, I thought that was kind of cool. That's like the one time it was acceptable to not be able to see anything, where like you saw the zombies trying to nail him like in between him shooting because it was blind for him. Whereas every other scene is just dark.
Oh, you mean
for
the scene where
us.
it's literally pitch black and you're just seeing like the zombies illuminated by
the
muzzle
epilepsy
flash?
scene.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know.
No, it was a cool idea and it was poorly done.
was
Honestly, I
way
was
too
watching. I
long.
was just like,
Or how about that scene where it's dark and he's trying to light the lighter and he keeps having to relight the lighter and each time he lights it, the zombie's getting a little closer to the camera and it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's just super long.
Dude, and every fucking shot in this movie is like a slow zoom in on something in like the way distance. Like when Claire sees like the lady in the woods at the very beginning of the movie, and we just slowly zoom in and the woods are dark so you can't see her until about 15 seconds. And you're like, oh, there's like a kind of a person-shaped blob back there.
What is that out there?
Yeah.
I like the idea that they think it's like, oh, if it's underlit and we're squinting our eyes and are honestly getting a slight headache in the front of our head, in the front of our skull because we're like doing so much like muscle motion with our eyes in order to actually be able to see this fucking thing. Like that makes a movie scarier. I've seen like quite a few underlit movies recently, and it really pisses me off. And I don't know why they're doing it. Like, there's no.
Maybe it's the Game of Thrones that Long Night episode where it was like super dark and everyone was like, man, it's too dark to see.
No,
The
like
Battle at
I mean,
Winterfell.
there have been movies where like there was the cinematographer Gordon Willis, the cinematographer for Annie Hall and The Godfather and I think The Conversation. Very famous. He was called the Prince of Darkness, and like all of his stuff is like really like even in a comedy like Annie Hall, like it's like pretty like it's pretty dark. It's pretty underlit, but the highlights aren't. The highlights that shape the image of the scene are not underlit, and they're like made in such a way where you can actually see the full image, even though the movie is like technically most of the screen is dark, but you can see the image. And there's an image there. Like this is just like, okay, we expose with a flat like plane that everybody does in digital photography so that you can have like plenty of to work with in the post-production. And it's like, okay, they do like a normal post-production pass and then they just like pull down the exposure just to pull it down. And I like there's no artistry in that. It just looks like shit. It looks like dog shit. You're trying to squint like you're not actually you're unable to experience the story because they decided that either during the production or in post-production, they decided to take the exposure down for no reason. It's not, they're trying to be Gordon Willis, but they're not fucking Gordon Willis. They suck.
I think what they're trying to do with the darkness in this is kind of what like
Just cover up their bad special effects.
kind of what like A Quiet Place did with the sound, where it was like masterful. Like there's no sound, and then when there is, you're like, oh shit, like you're freaked out. But like in this, it's like it doesn't really work with visuals, and especially because it's not like the characters can't see. That's why I think the one where they're in the dark and he's shooting or trying to light the lighter is kind of cool.
It's better.
Because we can't see and he can't see either.
Yeah.
But the rest of the movie, they can see. We just can't see them seeing.
It's better. And here's honestly, Schweiss, I had a flashback to a movie that did the exact same trick way better.
Oh yeah, what movie?
Hannah, the Joe Wright like action movie. It's not that great of a movie, but there is a sequence in there where the music is going and the lights are flashing with it, and it's like an action scene. Way better. Also, there's like a part of the Matrix that's somewhat similar. It's really short, but there's like where the pops of the flares. And they're in the dark. Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, and those are done way better.
And they're fast. Yeah.
And they're fast, and they know what they're doing,
these
and they're
guys-
specific.
These guys took an Uwe Boll turn with that, where it's like, oh, this is kind of a cool scene. Let's make it 2.5 minutes long. And you're just like, he just can't.
So I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. I do think it is not a great movie, but I didn't think. Here's what happened. I think I had Popeyes. I saw the other god of chicken. There's two gods of chicken, and they do not share power. But I experienced that, so I was real happy. Plus, when I saw the trailer for this movie, I was like, this looks so fucking stupid. Like, this looks cheesy. This looks like it's not going to be scary at all. And I had a few jump scares in there. Like, I kind of like got myself into it. Like, I don't know how, because you guys, it's not like anybody else did this, but I was like in there, and there was a few times where I got scared. I was like, oh man, that was a good jump scare. But I mean, they're all kind of cheap jump scares, but I don't know. I don't know what my problem was.
I can't think of a single moment where I got scared of this movie.
Yeah, honestly, me neither.
I don't know. I just thought it was going to be extremely bad.
And then I could tell when the movie wanted to be a comedy, but it hadn't like
It hadn't earned
set it. It didn't earn it. It didn't set it up right. So like when the guy is out there and like the stupid 90s pop music is playing and he's like slow motion, like in flames, like I was like, okay, this scene could have worked.
He's not even in slow motion.
But
He's
it's
just
not
walking
working.
at normal speed on fire into the PD.
Oh no, I think the camera's in slow motion in that shot.
I don't know.
I think
I
it
remember
is.
him walking normally, but I laughed at that because it was so stupid. Like it.
I wanted to laugh at it. Like there was a part of me that was like, I should be laughing right now. And I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, that's the part that's like, do I have Asperger's?
I can't.
Should I be laughing? No one else is laughing.
I can't. Yeah.
Is this not
Because
funny?
the whole time he's on fire walking in, you're just blaring, it's just a little crush. Like,
The song is way better than the movie.
It's a really weird thing, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, and then like
It was almost like, oh, I think the thing that wasn't funny about that is it was like, check it out, it's the 90s. Remember? Like,
this whole,
like,
yeah, this whole movie is trying really hard to make you remember that it's the 90s. Like,
that's the 90s. Like, oh, yeah, remember when
But,
you
like,
lived in a
not- and it's
shithole
not doing a good
town and
enough
it was
job of it where, like,
completely in
I-
darkness during the 90s?
but it's not doing a good enough job of it where, like, when Chris Redfield asks what a chat room is, and I'm like, is that supposed to be like a funny line? Like, that he's so stupid he doesn't know what a chat room is? And I'm like, oh, wait, no, this movie takes place in 98.
Yeah.
So, of course, he wouldn't know what it
But
is.
you can't tell it takes place in 98 because it's got that, like, sure, we're going to do the period, but we're kind of not. Notice how
Yeah.
everybody's T-shirt is sticking to their fucking, like, their fucking, like, their steroided up abs and chests. Like anybody would ever wear a skin-tight T-shirt in the 1990s.
Like, the one dead giveaway that
There's-
this takes
there's
place in
things
the
like that.
90s. The one dead giveaway that this takes place in the 90s is when they cut to Vickers in the fucking in the
VHS
helicopter. He's
player.
playing Snake on a Nokia phone.
Yeah, that was another
That's
one.
about it.
There's a VHS player earlier on. They play some videos like
Yeah, but it feels like because she gets like that tape from the informant guy, the guy that looks like me if I was like, even gayer. But like it fits in with the vibe of like a horror movie. So like I didn't recognize it as like a look, it's the 90s. It's just like, yeah, of course you'd get a weird VHS tape from some guy who's trying to expose like, government secrets or whatever. the
Yeah,
fuck.
everybody's hair is like too tight to their to the sides of their head here.
to be the 90s.
To be the night, there's so many things that are just like screaming to me. This isn't the 90s, but then the movie
Yeah.
is like pulling its 90s shit off. Like
Yeah.
this isn't. Like here's the thing. Here's what's interesting about any time period movie is like everybody, even if they do it accurately, like oh these are all from the time. It's like not everybody actually wears things from the time in the time that they're in. Like especially like that old guy, he should be wearing like 1980s clothing. Like he should have been like holding on to some shit. Like everybody
Like a
does.
bolo tie?
Just like anybody. Like that's how time works. But no, they gotta like make everybody look like hunky and tight clothing and all this other shit. And like no, like there were like some things that they like were like, okay, we'll just get the feeling of 90s without actually going like full hog on it.
Yeah, it's like that makes sense.
But then in the
because
script, they're going full hog on it. And it's like, I hate
It's-
everything in this movie. There's nothing redeeming about it. I hate it all.
Because, like, for us, we grew up in the 90s, so we would like the style of the 90s, but, like, we live now, and that's when you would dress like the 90s, because that's what you grew up with. It's not like in the 90s you would do what you did then, yeah, like, I don't know, that's why I don't do crazy things with my hair. It's timeless. The balding pate is timeless.
Yeah, the balling and then letting it, letting it grow
It's
out.
both timeless and extremely timed and aged. It's you can't tell what year I'm from because my hair doesn't look retarded. That's it.
Okay.
It looks bad,
Uh,
but it doesn't look like modern or anything. I'm not gonna do anything crazy. I'm not gonna like
That's what you're
give it a super modern gay cut where it's super short on the sides and long on the top, so it look like a
I don't even
Dumbass.
know if that's really in style anymore.
probably not. I
No.
don't
What, the
it's-
Macklemore thing? Yeah, not really.
Yeah, it's getting shorter on the top. The sides are still pretty skinny. Like
No. What's popular with the kids now is that like perm where they have the
I don't
sides
count
of the head
kids. I
shape,
count,
but like
like,
it's like it
kids
looks
don't
like a
count.
shorter version of Gerald's hair from Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
kids fashion is not fashion.
Well, yeah, I've seen a lot of people do that.
When I say kids, I mean like people in high school now. So like they're going to be adults in a few years.
Yeah, I still don't.
yeah, it's
There's a kid in my fucking
personally.
neighborhood down the street that has like a fucking car with like the neon lights on the bottom, and he has that haircut. And every time I drive past, I'm like, that is the stupidest fucking haircut
every
I've
time
ever
you drive
seen.
past, you're like, "Hey, fag!"
Blocked on Twitch.
No, I'm scared of beat me
Yeah.
up.
No, so no, it's the one where it's like short on the sides and then like it's super long. and
No,
then
I
they,
know what
like,
you're talking
pull
about.
it back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
It looks really
Yeah,
dumb.
that's like I don't think that's not on the cutting edge of fashion right now.
I don't know what is.
I don't think it is.
I think it's the balding pate. I think
I think
everyone,
Whatever.
every woman is gonna turn into the chick from that one weird Asian book we read that one time. Who's like obsessed with finely shaped bald heads.
1Q84.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's gonna
It's a
be
good
that way.
book. That needs an adaptation.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Shogun. I thought you were going to say they were obsessed with like anal balls or
beads.
whatever.
little beads. Yeah,
Which I still can't believe that's in that book.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's like out of fucking nowhere. It's like the anal beads scene. I'm like, my eyes are wide open at that scene. I was like, oh my God. I also got like full instructions on how to use them in that book, by the way. It wasn't
Yeah.
just like, oh, check out these things. You shove them up your ass. It's like, no. This is the timing of it when you slowly pull out the beads. I was like, I had no idea how to use anal beads before, but now I do.
Yeah, thank God.
Look,
Thank
Joe,
God. Now I gotta use it.
Look, Joe, I'll tell you right now, using anal beads, it's an art form, okay?
I was explained thoroughly in the book Shogun. Thank you, James Clavell.
Yeah. No, I don't know what my deal was to.
You liked it. Why did you like it?
Well, okay.
There's
so
gonna be
here's-
people listening to it who liked it. So
Because you
Here's-
actually have played the games.
Yeah, here's the thing
Yeah.
I like. I think they did a good job adapting, but then at the same time they did a really awful job adapting. So like Wesker is a bumbling idiot, which he's not at all. He's very like calculated and like quiet and kind of doing his own thing. The police chief is perfectly cast. None of the characters look like they look or act like they act, except for Chris. He kind of looks like Chris. But then we're expected to, I don't know. Like Leon is kind of ridiculous. He's just a dumbass. And
which
then-
one's Leon? Which one's Chris? Which one? Okay, is it the blonde hunk? Is it which one of the two brunette hunks is it?
Leon is the vaguely Arabian/Indian hunk.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he's not. Isn't he super skinny?
Which of the?
Yeah,
No, I'm
he's
just
skinny as
like-
shit.
I
He's
was
easily
just-
the least built out of all of them, including the women.
Including the women, yeah.
No, I think what you're
Sorry, go ahead, Schweiss. I was
experiencing-
fuck. Go ahead.
I think what you're experiencing, Schweiss, is like you're seeing the set design and it all looks like the places in the games, but then you have to deal with like Black Jill Valentine or like vaguely ethnic Leon S. Kennedy, who also acts like a complete dumbass.
Vaguely.
And it's just
ethnic.
like it's this weird. It's not like chocolate and peanut butter. It's like chocolate and toothpaste. Like it doesn't mix. So
Yeah, it's just kind of odd. So like they did it in some ways they did a good job, but then in other ways I'm like they did a really shit job. So I don't know why.
you're
I
like,
it so
man, this
much,
chocolate is good. I just wish it wasn't filled with fucking Aquafresh.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about it that's
Did they even make Aquafresh anymore? By the way.
I have no idea.
I'm not up on my toothpaste game, I guess.
I don't. Is Leon the main guy in 4?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that guy's like kind of.
I believe they
iconic
also
looking.
expressed interest that if
Well, then why
this
did they
movie
keep the
did
other
well-
guy blonde? Did they keep him blonde, or did they like change? Are they all just looking different? Are they all just a grab bag?
Wesker, I mean, the guy who plays Wesker, he's like blondish, I think. So
Yeah, and
That
then
one
the guy
kinda
who plays
works.
Chris kind
Well,
of
I feel like Leon has like that, like
emo kind of hair.
He's got the emo hair.
Well,
For
Leon,
me,
like,
as a person who
specifically
does
is
not
supposed
give a
to look
shit,
like
knows what Leon
Leonardo
looks like.
DiCaprio, basically,
Yeah, Leonardo. Yeah, that's
like
old Leo.
Titanic era Leo.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, that's what he looks like. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's weird that they made him this guy.
Yeah.
And a moron.
It's weird that they made him the Green Knight.
It's weird.
Is it the same guy?
It might actually be. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't
No,
think it is.
it's not.
There are some people that are as bad at acting in The Green Knight, namely everyone else but the main guy is a dog shit actor. But dude, like the King, it's just so bad. Like, and then the random bandit guy in the woods.
We already went through.
He's
this.
horrible.
We already had the
You-
discussion
yeah, my
about the
God.
Green Knight.
Yeah,
I think
everyone
it's an amazing
sucks.
movie.
Everyone in that movie sucks
I think
except
it's
for
a
the
wonderful
main
movie.
guy.
That's exactly the kind of movie I would like to make.
Oh my
I
god.
love the Green Knight.
Oh my fucking god.
loved
The
it.
boring, lame movie with great
I thought it was cool.
cinematography.
There was like a bit of like a, I don't know. I just liked the feel of the movie and the.
Look, it's a shit tale from an era of awesome stories. Arthurian tales are cool, except for this one. He's this knight that everyone's like, oh yeah, he's kind of a dumbass.
Okay.
He gets robbed by randos on battlefields. Fuck. But much better movie. Resident Evil City. No, I don't know. The performances in the movie aren't really all that great.
But I feel like that's
Except
owed
for
to the
the-
script being kind of
it's
terrible. There's
the
just a lot of moments
screenplay.
where the script doesn't feel like it was written correctly. Like when Claire saves the police chief from like the dog, and she's like holding a fire hydrant very clearly, and then Leon points a gun at her, and she's like, "Why would you point a gun at me? I'm holding a fire hydrant." It just feels so awkward, like in its execution.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that is more of what the problem is with it. But
Yeah, I think it's that script.
yeah, I never really thought it was funny. Like never once did I think it was a
tried.
funny movie.
God,
It did try.
I think the
May it rest in peace.
yeah, I think
Moment of
the
silence.
the idea that I don't know, like the town was getting like poisoned and shit like that was kind of interesting, but it also was kind of dumb because I'm like, well, I thought it was supposed to be, coming out of this lab. What are they just infecting the whole entire city? Like, because it was supposed to be the city is supposed to be like a testing ground kind of a deal, but I don't think they were planning on testing it on every single human being at once. So
I think that might be a consequence of them choosing to adapt both games and like kind of mixing them up because Resident Evil 1, the lab's like under the mansion with the T virus and shit. And then I forget what the deal is with 2, like where the virus how the virus infects like the whole fucking town.
yeah. I don't know. I guess it's probably a combination of the two movies. But it's just one of those things where like some of the stuff they did really good they did a really good job of like adapting, and then a lot of it they just didn't. So it's just kind of a
That's what I
weird-
mean. The part that they adapted correctly was the way everything should look, except for the characters.
Yeah.
Like the script is stilted. I mean, I guess which is accurate to the games, like the original PS1 versions,
Yeah.
where the voice acting is horrendous.
That's
Yeah.
that
But,
is a
like-
fair assessment.
Yeah, maybe it was
But I don't think
intended.
that was intentional.
Maybe it's like I think I've come to realize that I think Uwe Boll is intentionally being bad at times. You don't think so?
No.
Like I think he's making
I think he's just German. I don't think he can help it.
yeah. He's just
Have you seen the way they
mockable.
draw? Like they don't have any artistic skills, unfortunately.
Anyway,
I don't know. Yeah.
I do think Uwe Boll tries
You think so?
in his own way of trying. Like I think there's a person out there's people out there. Say they're in film school or something. I don't know. Who they really love like the mainstream big budget kind of movie. Like they really love that kind of movie. And that's the thing that gets them excited. And like the idea of that feeling of the big budget movie is the thing that drives them. And it's the thing that like all their decisions are based around, but not in a calculated way, but more in like a cheerleader kind of way. So they got, okay, we got to hire a camera guy. We got to hire that. We got to do all these things. And it's like, okay, man, we're going to make a big thing. Okay, this thing goes off. Now you film that. And like, there's no thought in like how those things are actually crafted.
So it's all flash, no substance.
It's just they never got the skill to do it.
Right.
It's like, I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to get past here, but there's not like,
They just think that they can do it because they like the thing.
they like the thing and they can get people behind them and they get people excited about it, but they're actual like sitting down and figuring out like the geography of a scene and how that will cut together in the editing room in like the artistic and or technical sense is like just not there. Like they just don't care. Like,
Right.
That's just not part of their.
It's not even
their
that they
thing.
don't care. It's just like they don't realize how hard, or they don't like when they watch a good big budget movie, they don't realize how much work goes into that.
Yeah, they don't realize like what a Peter Jackson or a Steven Spielberg or a Christopher Nolan are
Yeah.
doing
I wonder if it's
to
kind
get
of.
to that level.
I wonder if it's kind of like I don't know, my old analogy I made for Megadeth, right? Like their new guitarist is really good. He can do all the same stuff that the old guitarist can do, but he's not the best guitarist for Megadeth. Like Megadeth, I think the best guitarist for that band was definitely Marty Friedman, yeah. And it's not that this guy's not better than Marty Friedman, because I think he is.
He is.
I think he is a better player than Marty Friedman. But he's not a better creator with Dave Mustaine in creating like these masterpieces. I don't think. I think there's something there where, yeah, he can do everything that Marty Friedman can, but he's not Marty Friedman.
I actually think it's closer to Lars Ulrich being the cheerleader for Metallica and not that great of a drummer now.
Yeah.
Like he had a couple years where he was really tight and a pretty good drummer. He's a very interesting drummer because he comes across things in a very like he's never been trained on like kind of So he he puts
good.
fills in weird places and all these things, and it makes Metallica sound like Metallica. So there's actually way more skill and way more artistry in what Lars is doing.
Yeah.
But he is kind of like that, where he's not nearly the same level as like the Megadeth drummers or something like that.
Yeah, or like you look at
I'm trying to find like a good example of it because this is like really
what about,
hard
like
to
Eric
find.
Clapton and Jimi Hendrix. Like Eric Clapton is probably better at guitar, but Jimi Hendrix is more creative. So
No,
like
because they're both great artists. So I'm trying to find an artist that like sucks, but is very like Kid Rock. That's a good one. Sorry, my apologies to Kid Rock. No, Kid Rock.
Come on, that song
His music.
about
Here's
that song
the
about
deal.
liberals sucking that he came out with recently was awesome.
Kid Rock is not a good musician, but he's got a lot of enthusiasm.
I think you could also say virtually any SoundCloud rapper fits that bill, because it's like the SoundCloud rappers are the guys that listen to like all the mainstream hip hop and stuff, and they're like, I can do this. This is easy, and they just lay down a beat and then just start mumbling over it.
Yeah,
and then,
that's a better idea, but only if they were to get to a bigger level than that. That's the problem, because Kid Rock is a way better musician than Uwe Boll is a filmmaker.
right.
yeah.
So this is really, honestly, Uwe Boll is just in a league of his own. I don't know. I don't know quite how to describe
A
what
boxing
that is.
league of his own.
I think one of his problems is that he wants to explain how he gets to places, whereas like other directors, they just won't. They'll just be like, no, they're just there, you know. But he's like, okay, how are they going to get into this castle that I've made super, super impossible? He's going to like do this crazy ass whip yank thing, and he's going to fly through the air in an unholy manner that doesn't match anything in the movie whatsoever.
Man,
or in real
Like,
life.
he like writes himself into these situations, and then he writes some weird escape.
With the Uwe Boll stuff, like it's all bad, so it's hard to pick like one thing to pick apart. But like his blocking is like you could just go to film school for like 5 seconds. You read like a book on the 180-degree rule and like be able to like and figure this out like pretty easily. But like that guy handing the sword to the other guy in Dungeon Siege Tale or whatever, there's like, kid you not, like 9 shots to get one guy to hand a fucking object to another guy. Now, one director's option would have been to like just show the actors' faces and there's the motion of him holding the sword. Another one is a single shot where one guy gives a sword to another person, 2 shots possibly over the shoulder shots, or matching singles, but they do have to match up. You have to be on the same side of the 180-degree line in order for those 2 shots to match up in a fluid motion. But no, Uwe Boll had like 1 shot from like over here, 1 shot from over here, 1 shot from over here, and he spliced them together in the edit like he needed to do that. Still don't know why he did that. He could have just cut that shit out, but he kept it in. Like, to him, like, the passing of the sword through 9,000 different chaotic angles was really important to the story. It's fucking stupid. Like, it's I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad directing. It's bad blocking. So I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's off on a rant, shitting on other people.
Yeah, this movie,
Shouldn't even
though,
be doing.
this movie's not great.
Nope.
They did a decent job.
I was
adapting, but
feeling not enthusiastic. What's the thing where you think something's going to turn out good? Why I can't think of any words today. I was feeling optimistic when I saw the beginning because it's basically like a shot-for-shot fucking redo of the opening scene of the remake for Resident Evil 2, where it's the trucker eating the burger in the
yeah.
and he hits the lady. Except Claire's there.
Can I ask what the poll is though for that? When you just have the video game with its cutscenes and you could just watch that instead of watching this movie.
It's just
I have no. I honestly couldn't tell you.
It's like, what is the movie bringing to it that's a different experience from that? Like, if you wanted the same experience, you would just watch the goddamn cutscenes on a YouTube video.
Well, I think they did that one specifically because it is just doing the opening of the Resident Evil 2 remake to maybe, and it's right at the beginning. So maybe they're doing that to like lead off on a good first foot before they decide to change virtually everything. I mean, and it's not like it was directed any better than it was in the fucking remake. So yeah, I don't know what the pool of that is. I'm assuming that was just there. Some people would be like, "It's the thing I saw in the video game. I like this."
I don't get that.
I mean, they do that they also do that in Uncharted. So I mean, this is just the thing video game movies do. They're like, you know that super fucking iconic scene from the video game? Let's do that.
I think when I was a teenager, I probably would have been into that. Or like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to see a live action adaptation of like a Final Fantasy game? I probably held that opinion up until I was about 23. And now I'm like, nah.
Just leave it. Yeah.
Just leave it, because they're both visual mediums. They're both visually storytelling. But you do need actually the game in order to make those cutscenes work.
Yeah.
Then I think there's like, maybe the audience doesn't know that. Well, they don't, to be honest. Like, they just don't know that that's like, they feel rewarded when they see a cutscene like that. So it doesn't feel like, when you splice all those cutscenes together, it's not actually that fun to watch. Like, I've tried to watch like all the Final Fantasy X's cutscenes in a row. I get started and I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Okay, but to be fair, you chose
game.
Final Fantasy X.
Well, no, I like Final Fantasy X story, but you need the game in between. Like, the game is part of the storytelling. Like, the whole experience is the shebang.
Yeah, otherwise it's just a movie.
Well, yeah,
A
and
movie
then
where everyone dresses and acts like they're from Jupiter, and you need some turn-based combat to break that shit up.
And I'll be honest, like, will the movie with all those cutscenes just like threaded together actually stand up on its own like a movie that's crafted as a movie? And the answer is no.
As we can tell, yeah.
So
That's true. And that's where I get mad when people, I don't know, like when they try to say, "Oh, I like video game as art," and then they cite like Final Fantasy because it's got a deep story. I'm like, no, to me, I don't know. And this is an argument I've had like 500 times, and no one agrees with me. But it's like, if you're going to have something and say that this is art, it has to have something that's unique to it. It can't just be, it looks really nice. Like, the art is really well done, so it's a well done painting in a game. So you can have that as, this is art because it's beautiful. You could have, it's art because it's telling a great story, but that's just a book. That's just a movie. I think for it to be its own art form, it has to have something that it does uniquely that nothing else does. That nothing else does the way that it does, at the very least.
just the crafting of a game
unique.
experience.
Yeah, which is why God of War has such a good score from us. Is because it is, in a lot of ways, like you feel the especially if you played the old ones, you kind of feel the agedness of Kratos. You feel how he's slowed down. It all kind of like culminates into one thing. Like it's a good story. It's good visuals.
It's told right in its own medium.
It's told right within a game, yeah. And so like it's not that because it has a story, it is now just a book or a movie. It implements the fact that it's a video game. Whereas Final Fantasy normally doesn't do that. It doesn't do that. It has a cool story, but then the cutscene happens and you put that shit down and you just watch it. Then it just becomes a movie.
So I don't know, like I don't think it helps the movie to be accurate to the game.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it doesn't help it because
the movie has to hold up as a movie because the movie's audience is actually bigger than the video game audience.
Yeah, potential audience. At
More
least.
people see movies, even with movies, having less of an audience these days with COVID. More people bought a ticket to go see Racoon City than have bought that video game.
Yeah.
You can do the math on that.
Well, it's
So
also
that-
way
the
less
audience
of a
that
fucking going to see a movie is a passive experience anyway, so it's way more accessible.
Yeah, the audience
A video game is like a video game is a piece of media that
takes a few hours.
essentially if you're not good enough to get past certain obstacles, it just doesn't let you finish it.
Yeah. So like it's accessibility, sure, but it's also like the accessibility of that specific art form is just way more, I guess, intrinsic or whatever. Like it's the same thing of like the amount of people could watch something on a Netflix.
Yeah, and
So-
like you could be into horror and watch this movie.
So, like,
you might not even
yeah.
know.
A number one book doesn't touch nearly as many people as a number one movie does. In terms of mass amount of people that have experienced that thing, not even. They should not give a single flying fuck. If it makes the movie better, drop it. Drop it out of the fucking. Of course, that's me. That's me. I've had this argument with my mom, who's like a historian. So I've had like the thing of like, yeah, it's not historically accurate, but it's for the movie, and who cares? Like I've had that argument. She's like, well, it's teaching people the wrong things. I'm like, it's not teaching anybody anything. It's a movie.
Yeah.
They're telling a story, and they chose this. They chose this story to tell, and some of this is true, and some of this isn't. And it's just a story. No one should go to a fictional movie,
yeah,
or
was she
even
upset at
even
the
a
Queen?
biographical movie, and just assume that it's like that it's it's there to teach me stuff. Like no, it's not.
Which is why I don't really blame them for
can get
doing
you
shit like making
it can
like
get you
Leon and Jill
excited
different.
about it. It can get you excited about going and like reading up on the real history of something or playing this video game or something like that, but only if it's actually good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
You're not
true.
gonna give a fuck otherwise.
It's why I don't blame them for making Leon and Jill different races, because it helps with the accessibility of like, yeah, there's more than just white dudes and women in the world. So I don't even really blame them for that, because it's like, yeah, this is all in the name of like making it a more accessible like entertainment piece in the modern context. So it's
Yeah.
like whatever.
I don't know. I think it's the thing I was getting at with the Stephen King, where like because he's in one medium, he's just a dumbass in other mediums. He doesn't know what he's doing at all, and he thinks, well, we have to have this. We gotta have the scene with this in it. Otherwise, like, what's the point of having the Shining movie if you don't have the hedge?
We gotta
animals
have
and
the child orgy
like-
in it. Otherwise, what's
can't.
the point?
I've been thinking about that. Like the scariest shit in the Shining book is not in the movie,
Yeah.
and it's because that shit is impossible to film.
Oh yeah, it's
Except-
impossible.
Maybe the Wasp. You could have gone away with that, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe
then.
not and maybe not even now because they would have done like dumb CGI wasps.
Yeah, and Joe would have been like, "Oh, if this was the '70s, they would have got real giant wasps." Just like kicking back on his couch.
No, they would have done like some sort of trick to
that
make
would have
it
been a
so
real.
that-
That would have been a wasp. That would have been a helicopter.
like some sort of mirror trick to make it look like the wasp nest is in the room with the actors when it's not actually in there, but
Yeah.
it's still a real wasp.
Yeah,
So,
like the fucking fly in Once Upon a Time in the West.
yeah.
Just like it looks the fakest thing you've ever seen in your life. Amazing movie though. That movie's fucking
That
sweet.
movie is amazing.
But like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's that. It's the different mediums and like.
You got to play to the strengths of those things. And I'm not saying like them dropping something will make something better, but the filmmaker probably thinks it'll make it better. And I don't know. That's just like I think that's a good reason to change something that you're adapting. I realize that like a good chunk of the audience, not everyone, not even half of them, I don't even think, will have played that first Resident Evil movie or Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
And they'll go to the thing and they'll probably be the loudest either supporters or people like railing against the movie depending on like how accurate it was, but like You're there to satisfy more than just those people.
Yeah.
I think it's also just a bit bloated. They probably should have just fucking stuck with adapting either one or two and not both.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's definitely bloated. It's bloated for such a short movie. Like, there's so much shit that they just tried to shove in there.
Yeah. There's like 18 fucking characters. There's like 4 plots all running at the same time.
And they covered them all up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Covered
with
them all
darkness.
up in inky blackness.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a still from the trailer. But
Yeah, what are we looking at?
what am I looking at? That could be like 2
that-
stops up in the highlights, and then we would have a good, clean image. But instead, we have this muddy bullshit.
Yeah.
Did you
Is that-
see the trailer, by the way?
is
And
that a puss
they
face?
use fucking they use the song "What's Going On" by 4 Non-Blondes in the trailer. And I'm like, okay, if I had seen this trailer before I saw this movie, I would have kind of known maybe
See,
this wasn't going to be that great.
That's what I'm talking about. I saw the trailer and I was like, that movie looks like absolute fucking filth. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then I was like,
Because
no,
they're
it's...
trying to play to that thing where they're like, it's the 90s. Look, we got 4 Non-Blondes. That one song anyone knows by them. But it's like,
Yeah, don't you remember the 90s? Remember?
Yeah.
Did you remember? Do you remember the 90s? You had Bill Clinton. We got the fucking music. We got the dance. Yeah, the 90s. Come
remember when
on.
gas cost $1 a gallon?
Yeah. Yeah. Remember when Hillary wasn't busy suiciding all the people that have dirt on her? Come on, remember? Just kidding. Kidding. She probably didn't kill Epstein. Unless she did it personally. Can you imagine that?
I'm not gonna answer that. I don't.
Come here, you little bastard. No, get away.
I don't go into that category anymore.
You don't go into the Hillary kills.
No. Well, 1, politics. 2, party politics. 3, conspiracy theories. I don't go into any of those.
Look, it's not a conspiracy. Look,
It's not a conspiracy theory.
it's conspiracy fact.
It's a conspiracy theory.
That's a
because
conspiracy fact.
Nothing has been proven.
Did you know Hillary Clinton killed Epstein herself with a suit with a ceremonial dagger?
Yeah. I would let you stab yourself with this, but I don't trust you.
She sacrificed his soul to Moloch.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't like conspiracy theories either. But sometimes
But if it's for a person that you don't like and a political party you don't like, then maybe.
I mean, no one likes her, so
I'm not saying yes or no. I'm not saying what I think because I
Look,
honestly don't know anything.
all I'm saying
And
is
no
that
one
there are
does.
conspiracy theories and then there are conspiracy theories. There's ones where like the actual on the ground like this is what happened theory sounds a lot more conspiratorial than all the other theories that I've heard, and those are the ones that I don't like that or like the JFK thing. Like the magic bullet theory, that sounds like the conspiracy theory to me. Like, yeah, it bounced off the kneecap of this guy, it blew through this dude's fucking hand, and then it nailed him. Like that, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I believe in any of them. I'm just saying that when what is told to me sounds like bullshit, all the other conspiracy theories, they all just sound like bullshit. Not to justify the conspiracies, but you know
Well,
what I'm saying?
I don't know if I don't know if I actually want to get into this right now.
just give me
It's
your
not about Epstein. It's just about conspiracy theories as a whole. So it's not that there aren't reasons to cover things up,
yeah.
and it's not that there aren't things being covered up, but what people conclude as the reason something is being covered up is the conspiracy theory. So they go, "Oh, Epstein was killed, and he was friends with he was friends with Clinton and a bunch of other people."
A lot of other people.
And so they
yeah.
go, "Well, I hate the Clintons. Fuck the Clintons. Clinton's the guy." And so like that's immediately like,
Oh, come on. It was clearly his wife.
well,
What is he going to do? Look at him.
either way,
I know.
it doesn't.
She sucked
I know.
all
It's
of
too
the soul
convenient,
out of that
it's
guy.
it is too convenient for it, like I just like because then my conspiracy thing goes up where I'm like, you're biased.
Yeah.
You're biased, buddy, and I don't know if I could trust your
Because-
theory.
Because what if, because he was also friends with Trump. No,
So-
I'm not saying Trump killed him.
Weren't they at Trump's wedding?
I don't know.
Wasn't that the thing?
Uh,
Yeah,
I
anyway.
wasn't there.
All these rich people are pals, so. But yeah, it's like, well, no, they're only pals with these guys because I don't like these guys. That's true, yeah. That is
So-
true.
So I don't know. And also, there are like strange coincidences do happen all the time,
Yeah.
and yet people I don't know, think that life is more logical than it actually is.
That's true.
There's things like that bother me, or the fact like when something has a simple explanation, it has multiple like I don't know witnesses and everything, and there's still some fucking cracknut out there that's still like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in
It
a
doesn't make
trial,
sense to me.
like they don't really take like witness accounts that seriously. Like if you have like DNA evidence, the witness accounts could be the complete opposite, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
we have DNA. The witness, because like you can
And I also like
mold what people see and what they think they saw.
I also
to a certain
question
degree.
people's obsession with them as well as like a personal sort of like,
Like, what's wrong with this?
what are you
person?
wasting your like lack of mental health on right now that you are looking for conspiracy and everything in your life? Like what?
I
the
think those kinds of people are they just want to have some semblance of like having
Purpose.
control
Yeah.
and agency in their world when largely I'm pretty sure everything is, being done for us essentially.
And you also, yeah, maybe I don't know.
Like we as individuals can't really shape the fucking like grand scheme of history and like our own country and shit. So I think these people want to try and wrest a little bit of that control. So that's why they're so obsessed with conspiracy theories, because it makes them feel like they know what's really going on.
Yeah, and I don't know if like if we're a bunch of like ants and it's just chaos, then like the breeze flows in and then the ants kind of move to the side and it's all kind of like an amorphous move, and it's not necessarily like one thing being directed. I don't know. That's a terrible metaphor for what I'm trying to say, but it's just I don't know. Those kind of like macro things based upon a whole bunch of little micro things that you can never possibly measure.
Yeah.
Changing the way things are in society or life or
Yeah.
a specific event or culminating in that. Like there's no way you can have all of the factors involved in hardly anything.
Yeah.
There are some conspiracies that have happened and get unburied, and I don't think people are as good as keeping secrets as people seem to think they are. Like I really don't trust in people keeping secrets for that long or anything
Yeah.
like that. So I have that bias personally where I'm like, I can't see anybody keeping a secret, like every secret.
It's that old.
ever.
It's that old saying, like two can keep a secret if one of them's dead, right?
That's
Yeah.
it. So
Someone in the chat asked if a certain recent outbreak was made in a lab.
there's
We don't know.
No
See,
one
here's
knows
the-
that.
Here's what happens. Here's why people believe in conspiracies. It's because people fuck up and they say the wrong things, and then they're not willing to say that, hey, I made a mistake. I was wrong. That's why people get conspiratorial, is because, wait, you lied to me. You said one thing, and now you're saying another thing, but you never addressed the fact that you said the other thing. And now if I mention that, I'm crazy because now I'm being a science denier or whatever denier. That's why I think this stuff happens, is because people are lied to. They catch people on the lies, and those people are too proud
well,
to
that's
admit
not
that they lied.
conspiratorial. That's like human nature to like cover one's own
Try to
ass.
defend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
the
think
difference.
that's
A conspiracy
weak,
to
though.
me is like three, like a group
Yeah,
of
yours is like Illuminati,
15
yeah.
people, and like, okay, we're gonna fuck these people over by doing this, this, and this,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna they have the meeting about it, and then they go set about it and make it happen. It's like MK Ultra. That's a real conspiracy. That's not.
Yeah.
That's not a conspiracy theory. That's not like random. That's actually like an organized thing that happened
Yeah.
where, and of course it got out because it's big and it's organized.
Yeah.
And the government's not nearly as competent as people
Which
think,
is why
think
people
they
don't
are.
trust them, yeah.
and which is another reason. But it's just human nature. Like it's just people not being able to do their jobs, or people acting
is, yeah.
selfishly, and as a conglomerate of a bunch of selfish decisions from a bunch of different people, it's like things happen. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
And of course, the answer to that is definitely yes.
There's too many. There's too many. I think the conspiracy theories are almost like, I don't know. Sometimes they're just like too easy of an answer, even.
Yeah. To that question, though, I kind of think it was. And there's a lot of evidence that points to that. I don't know if it was for the nefarious purposes that everyone, or a lot of people that think it was, are saying. Like it wasn't intended, like we're going to take out America because they're all fat. Like that I have a real hard time with. But I kind of think it was made in a lab as like a, because the area they were looking into, they do a lot of stuff where they're like, well, what if this happened? Like, what if?
And for the Twitch TOS people, we were specifically referring to the T virus from
Yeah.
the Resident Evil franchise.
Yeah, it was
so-
definitely made in a lab, and it's like, well, what if this mutation happened, and it was suddenly something that could happen to humans, and then it broke out. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't think that's hard to believe. People are idiots.
It's
People
possible.
fuck up.
There's no way to actually like. There's a.
There is a way.
I guess there is a way to trace that to a point.
If you're not a coward.
No, I think the CIA.
If you're not afraid to ask the questions that'll get you killed by Hillary
Okay,
Clinton's
I don't-
sacrificial death.
I don't go into this shit because it honestly makes me like really angry. But like just anything COVID just like starts like gets under my skin.
Well, yeah, because it's fucking 9 million years long,
Well,
and we've been
there's
stuck.
I have many different opinions on many different facets of this.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know. I think a lot of people are thinking with their feelings in a lot of
Yes.
In a lot of different
Unfortunately,
things.
that's-
I fucking
that's
hate the
an
Chinese, okay?
extremely common
But,
thing these days.
but I think that
Stupid gunpowder,
and
fireworks.
I also have
Wow.
a different opinion upon which feelings like what things should be important when I mean thinking with their feelings. So and I recognize that like
yeah.
we do agree that people are thinking with their feelings, but I promise me and A4 do not agree on what things we're talking about right now.
Yeah. Well, it's the Ben Shapiro and the reverse Ben
So-
Shapiro, right? It's the facts don't care about
It's the
your
Ben
feelings.
Shapiro and the Bill
feelings-
Maher.
But feelings also don't care about your facts, and
So-
that's the problem. Is they both are like constants.
So anyway, I have my own like ethical line about the COVID stuff, but I think that the official report was that yeah, maybe, but maybe not. Could have came from the lab, could have not. We don't know.
Yeah, but I think the part that's
And I think that's okay.
but I think the part that's annoying.
I don't
is
know
that-
why that bothers people as that being like the answer to that. It's like they don't know right now.
But the problem
Why is that a problem?
if
Why is
they-
that not an answer? That's an answer.
The problem would be if they're not willing to find out. Then it'd be like, okay, well, I
how
understand.
much can they find out? Too?
I understand that it's like, well, now it's a problem, so we
'Cause
have to deal.
You
with
are
it.
dealing with a government that doesn't give a
That
shit
lies
about
and-
truth.
Yeah, that's true.
So how much?
Wait,
can...
which one?
Well,
The one
okay,
that pretends to, or the one that doesn't pretend to?
the one that doesn't pretend.
Oh,
to
okay.
Care about truth. There you go.
Yeah. No,
So-
I know what you mean.
So there's
I know what you mean.
yeah, and there's also the thing where everybody thinks we live in America, and this is honest. This is one of those things.
Yeah, it's just look at the conflict in Europe. Everyone thinks we're
Everybody
it's all the
thinks we
same.
live in America.
Like, no, it's not.
We don't all live in America. Sorry.
Yeah,
Like if
a bunch of you guys are losers. That's what we're trying to say.
it's just different.
Yeah.
It's just different thing.
People
different
have
cultures.
people have different desires, different things that they want. Not everyone just wants to be rich and wealthy. Not everyone is. If you just take away a mostly poor country's little bit of money, that's not going to suddenly make everyone turn on the leader and be like that's what I'm saying. Like with the whole Russia thing, like, oh, we'll just sanction them and we'll make the oligarchs poor. Well, what if they don't care about money? What if what they care about is the honor and the prowess of the Russian country? They're already poor. They're the rich poor people, but like, come on, they're not rich like Americans are rich, like the super rich here. What if all they do want is like the Soviet Union to come back, like the big, strong middle finger to America on the other side of the world? Do they care about a little bit of sanctions? Probably not. But we treat it like it's us. Yeah, we look at everything and we're like, well, they like money.
Yeah,
'cause
we're
we
playing.
like
We're
money.
playing by different rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the
Like,
thing. It's like
they're not even playing the same game.
yeah. Oh no, and this actually like kind of spurs into like things that have to do with our podcast just a little bit, and we've gone on this. It's like, you know, people are calling some like Japanese thing racist because it had or doesn't have a certain like race in its game or something like that. It's like, motherfucker, they're Japanese.
Yeah.
What is our opinion? What does it do for them?
Yeah.
They're not listening to us.
Yeah, it's like Canadians
Maybe.
complaining. You're like, what are you talking about? You guys are the hat. Like, you guys are only safe because of the big top dog down here. Like,
You guys are half French. Why would we ever take you seriously?
yeah, half. We can't even understand half of you, and the other half is offensive as hell.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, it's true. Yeah, like they're not thinking about the same stuff at all.
No, it's
Like,
so bizarre to me that people don't have that
ability to disconnect.
from their own point of view.
It comes
just
back to the entitlement thing
just a
again.
little bit.
Really, it's just people, especially Americans, are just super fucking entitled.
Kinda. They're like entitled to. I don't know. It's like.
Well, it's gotten worse with the advent of social media. I think we talked about this.
I think it's gotten
like a previous
louder.
After Dark, where the guy was wondering if he should have let his kid on social media, and it's just like now that everyone's got a voice and everyone's got a platform to like say their piece, like everyone just feels so much. Actually, are.
Yeah, it's the whole.
We censored A4.
Yeah, it's the whole pronouns thing. It's like it's the idea that you're so important that when someone talks to you on Twitter, they must use these two words to describe you because it's like a heightened self-importance. I think is kind of what it all is. It's like, and it's as if it's a real conversation. That's the thing. They treat it like they're actually talking face to face with somebody. And like if you're dressed up as a girl and you're a dude, biologically, face to face, that's different. But like if you feel the need to put in like what you want to be referred to as on Twitter, to me that looks pretentious because it's like you must play by my rules when you talk to me, and it's like, no, the fuck I don't have to play by your rules. Like to me, that's like you saying that you gotta, you know what I mean? Like it's just like a heightened self-importance.
They're entitled to. They think they're entitled to their comfort. They think.
Yeah, it's narcissistic is really what it is. That's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like only I matter here.
I cannot say that the people who are talking in this room do not possess some of those narcissistic and entitled qualities.
Oh, I'm narcissistic and entitled as shit. Don't get me wrong. But at least I'm not like pretending I'm not.
Yeah, well, no. When I hear like, oh, it's just entitlement or something like that, I'm thinking like, okay, what the fuck have I done? Like, I immediately go to like, what the fuck have I done where someone could call me an entitled piece of shit? I'm like, I know I've done it, so I'm definitely not going to complain about it on a podcast.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. We're all entitled in one way.
So
or
I
another.
just want to lay that out. Like,
it's when like you're.
I hate hypocrisy. I think is probably like I have like an obsession with that. So I made a movie about it, and I can't. I don't know. There's something when I see that it just bothers me. So when we're saying we're entitled, but we're like, yeah, we should have free speech. Yeah, we should have all this. Like, well, those are all entitlements. We call them rights or whatever. We call them human rights, but only right here.
I'm just saying there's a reason that I know I'm entitled by saying this, but there is a reason that free speech is like the first fucking thing in the Constitution because they know it's that important.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it kind of does take precedent over other entitlements. So I think that's where people like have a problem with it. But
I don't know.
This was supposed to be a Resident Evil movie review.
Yeah, I mean the movie sucks. So the amount that like. I wish I had watched it recently so that I could like get my list of things that I have a problem with it.
Yeah.
But it is.
Dude, I almost immediately forgot everything that happened in this fucking movie.
So it's bad. So and all I can remember is the bad shit. Like that's it. Like it's bad, boring, forgettable. But what I remember is also bad. So
yeah,
there you go.
Anytime we devolve from what we were actually supposed to be talking about, it's like last episode when we started talking about what we've been playing instead of raging about pizza gyms. You can tell that we're not really interested in whatever it is we're covering. And this, I don't know. I honestly,
a wholly forgettable movie. Like Joe really hated it. I thought it was just kind of meh and forgettable. Like,
but you put Uncharted meh and Resident Evil meh are not the same mehs to me. I don't know what your scoring is, but I don't like it.
He's got a bone to pick with Naughty Dog because he doesn't like his women to have massive balls.
Yeah, but I mean, I liked the movie. We'll get into it next week. No, but like, if I had to score these, I'd give this movie a fucking 4. I'd probably give Uncharted like an 8. Like, Uncharted.
But they're both meh? A 4 and an
Uncharted
8
is just like an aggressively average like action adventure movie, but like.
Yeah, but I laughed and I had a little fun. I was like excited for what would happen next.
That's why it's got a higher score than this.
This is like a milquetoast version of Indiana Jones. Sure, I'm having a good time, but it's
like Indiana Jones.
It's not Indiana Jones, but it's like all right. It's been filtered through 9 different mediums and it's gotten to this point, but okay.
Yeah.
But this movie's actually just trash.
It's like Indiana Jones, but you mixed too much of the mixer drink in with it, and you're like, it mostly tastes like the mixer, but there's a hint, a little bit.
No, it's like Indiana Jones is Dr. Pepper, and that's Dr. Shasta.
Oh, yeah. Like,
As opposed to being like a rotten peach in a cup, which is what this movie is.
yeah, that is not Dr. Pepper. That is a rotten fruit. I feel ill. I also can't see anything. Why is it so dark?
Some like this is like Tab, where you drink it and you're like, I don't even remember what the fuck that tasted like, and I just drank it. Whereas like Cats is like Malort, where you drink it and you're like, oh god, this is awful. Everyone has to try this right now.
Yeah, you gotta go see this movie. Yeah, I've only done that to Joe once, I think.
And Uncharted is like Dr. Pepper, where it's just it's like Mr. Pibb, where it's just like, this is fine.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this.
never
But I mean,
ask
like, I'm not
for
gonna write home about it.
I'll never
But
ask.
it is a soda that I can drink, and it does quench my thirst, and it goes good with this fucking Baconator.
What were you about to say, Schweiss?
I was to say I've only done that to Joe one time, I think ever, where I've watched a movie that was like so bad, but awesome that I made him watch it, and it was that Nick Cage Deadfall movie,
Oh my god.
and it was
That movie
largely
was so awful.
yeah. I was like, you can't.
But
You
Nick Cage is only in like a section of it.
yeah, he's only in like the first third or something.
So the rest of it is just like torture.
Yeah, I was like, dude, and we've seen the clips before because it's that
yeah.
old YouTube video. Nick Cage loses his shit.
Yeah, it's a great video.
So all the best Nick Cage moments, and there's a bunch of them from this one particular movie.
Oh,
but I
you
was
mean
just
like
Fucking
hangers.
retarded!
Yeah.
Am I fucking retarded?
Yeah.
yeah, it's that
one.
movie. It's really fucking funny, and he's great. But man, the rest of it it's rough, and it's only like an hour and a half long, but it feels like forever. It feels so long, and there's so many stupid twists at the end. Like the guy's brother is played by the same actor, his twin brother, but then like you were like avenging the one, but then the one tricks you into killing the other. It's like, it's so fucking bad.
I don't remember any of
There
that.
was something like that going on. Or like the one same actor was pretending to be two different brothers.
Oh, there was like a fair, right? Or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, something
It
was going on.
sucked.
Yeah.
That movie sucked.
And when Nick
except for
Cage-
Nick Cage.
When Nick Cage is no longer in the movie, it's real rough.
Yeah.
And the other actors are kind of not
And there's
good.
a sequel to it.
There is, yeah. Which I kind of want to see. I'm pretty sure it has Nick Cage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to see that. That would be great. I don't know how
Even
it
though
has
I think
Nick
he
Cage.
died, right?
He did die in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know
Yeah.
how he's in the sequel, but he got like his face shoved
What
in
am I
a.
fucking immortal, man?
What am I, some kind of fucking peasant? Huh? You think I could die? he got like his head shoved in like a
fucking
fucking.
haters!
Yeah, it's fucking haters. It's really good. Yeah,
That's
he's like
great shit.
amazing in there.
Yeah. We should watch that. And then when he dies, we just stop the movie.
Yeah, like wasn't that great? A great 30-minute movie.
All right, we got to be done on this thing.
Yeah, the movie sucks. You know, if you wanted to.
Schweiss liked it. I don't know why he says it. Like he's gotten us to convince him that he sucks. It sucks, but sorry, not you.
I mean,
suck.
I do
He's-
think
it sucks.
I do think it's bad, but I did enjoy it when I watched it. So I don't know. It's a weird thing. I thought for a minute maybe I was broken and I just didn't know what a bad movie was, but I have since found.
Broken. I don't know what a bad movie is.
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, if this I didn't think was bad, but then I did think Star Wars Episode 8 was really bad. Like, do I even know?
Oh no, no.
I was going to say, you said you hung on Star Wars episode, and it's like you have like a 2/3 chance of saying a number that is correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, it used to only be 1/2.
just
but now-
guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now with the sequels, it's kind of climbing. You know.
Uh, Yeah, I gotta say, Last Jedi is a fucking masterpiece in comparison to this movie.
Yeah.
A masterpiece.
Yeah, I mean, it has some cool cinematography.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of good. There's good.
You
things.
can see
Hold
what's
on,
going
hold
on. I mean, there's not a lot of it happening,
There's,
but you can see it.
yeah, there's good things in that movie.
Name one.
That's the difference. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Man, there's some real bad things in that movie, though.
There are.
That might be worse than some of the stuff in this movie.
No.
Dude, the Leia flying through space, that was pretty bad.
Oh, that was pretty fucking bad.
That was awful. I was laughing.
I'll tell you, the fucking the suicide bomb moment with the ship was bitching.
Yeah, that was pretty
That
cool.
was like the one cool part because it was a really awesome.
No, but
way
that part is cooler than anything in the prequels. Well, not anything.
I don't know about
I
that.
think there's like a couple lightsaber fights in the prequels, but
yeah.
better than a lot of whole movies. Is that one?
The only
sequence.
memory I have from The Last Jedi seeing it in theaters was the part where Rose stops Finn from like sacrificing himself.
Oh,
like crashing
sacrificing
into his
himself by the 10-foot wide like beam that's gonna come out that you could easily get out of the way of within that time. Anyway,
Yeah, but then she
The
says, like,
geography of that scene
we're
bugs
not
me.
gonna defeat them with hate. We're gonna save them with love or whatever. And my wife looked over at me and like, oh, and I looked over at her like I just smelled a really bad fart.
I think the very end of that movie is. And we gotta stop. We gotta stop talking about anything.
Other
We
movies.
gotta stop. Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah, I
guys.
love the part of The Last Jedi where
Stop it!
where Durkin
Stop it!
turned into a fucking monster, and they also teased the
Say live always in
Ashford
the
twins
fucking
from
nude
Code
or some
Veronica for
shit.
no reason.
Till next time, guys. Live always in the nude.
Walk with your cock held high.
Fuck this movie.